Oh, it's cold as fuck and my legs fell asleep. Good morning, y'all. It's Timothy. It's 10:15 p.m. on a Friday. Let's get this going. I made a video before about it, but I was too busy being a crash out to fully get my point across. But I'll put it this way. I did not believe in the traditional confines of religion. There's many reasons for that. I remember once I hooked up with this Catholic dude. His name is Chance. He was a strange dude. Not just because he looks like a white fucking Rick James. Like, if you went, let's fucking, get albino Rick James and make him like a brunette and just get his fade down, then, that's what he looked like. He had a big dick. Not like you need to know that, but yeah. We should be glad he's out of my life. But he was specifically Catholic, and he was so Catholic that he would cry after sex with me. Not because sex was bad, usually because sex was fucking great. But he wouldn't allow himself to orgasm during sex because he had a lot of religious guilt. He kind of had the idea burned into him from a very young age that, hey, if you dare to have an orgasm, you're going to burn in hell. If you pleasure yourself or enjoy anything in your life in any fucking way, then fuck you. And it's very awkward to have a man who absolutely loves to have sex with you and wants to fuck you any fucking waking moment of the goddamn day. I apologize for my swearing. But still, it's like, but no, because of his religious beliefs, he could not allow himself to orgasm, and he felt bad about seeing me because he thought to himself, I believe in the traditional confines of marriage. I need to follow my religion and go for like more holy women. But he wanted the whole on this woman. What's up with I've dated a lot of Catholic dudes. Holy fucking shit. I don't know what it is about, like, one can say, oh, just men being horny and hypocritical and weird. But it's like specifically Catholic men really fucking like me, probably because I will be like, hey, you're cool. Don't feel sad about sex. It's a natural thing to have. And also, it's okay to say your parents suck and to, like, enjoy things. And then they'll be like, holy shit, to me is amazing. Yeah. But I remember with Chance, he told me something interesting. I forget how it came up, but I forget if he asked or I asked. But either way, the topic came up of what is your ideal version of heaven? And he said that his ideal version of heaven is that it would be a white endless room where it's like nice, like thick layers of beautiful white fog. And he would be able to walk on water. And it would just be like a long spanning bridge where he would never get uncomfortable, never get tired. He could do anything physically with his body, even if he couldn't do it when he was alive. And he would have a book with a pen. And whenever he had a question, he would simply write it into the journal. And then, bada bing, bada boom, he would get what he wanted. He basically had, like, oh, I will write into this journal, like, what's the meaning of life? Or why does bad things happen to good people? Or, like, he would think of all sorts of questions and he would ask him any question he wanted. He would always be satisfied, and he would walk that path and be able to even, like, discover other people on their paths. And he said more stuff, but this was years ago, like 3 years ago. But he painted such a beautiful image that I thought to myself, what would my ideal version of heaven be like? Because up to that point, I didn't believe in the afterlife. The way I see it, we become fucking worm food. That's another reason I haven't killed myself, because I kind of think to myself, I could fucking end my life and it would be painful, and then it would be blackness. But I could instead just spend too much money on, like, bullshit from fucking Forever 21 and buy something off of Wish.com and put on a good movie and splurge a little bit on some Mexican food or take a walk and, like, sit in the sun for a little bit when the sun comes, and then usually I stay alive. Because why? Eternal darkness doesn't sound that fun. And whenever it has, that's when I'm like, okay, I really need to lock in. I need to start calling up people being like, hi, I love you, thank you for always being there for me. And they're like, to me, are you okay? I'm like, no, but thank you. And I try to really lock in at that point. But I don't know, something about that, I feel like it was a beautiful and necessary conversation in a way, because I guess I'm open-minded to, like, whatever's out there. Like, my religion and spirituality has changed many times over the course of my life. Just like how, like, no offense, there's nothing about me that's consistent. Or there are some things that's consistent, definitely. But, like, there's a reason why you'd be able to watch older videos of me and be like, oh, yes, I love sex, and it's absolutely something you can have with as many people as you want, and it doesn't fuck you up. Versus now, you might hear me say, celibacy is very important. Don't just fuck anybody, because niggas are evil, and you don't want STDs in pregnancy. Like, there's a reason why in the past you would hear me say something along the lines of, I don't know, like, how do I put this? Just, if you're ever like, just go through your fucking backlog of anything I've said ever. You'd probably find some stuff that has changed over time. Because we, as humans, we change, we develop. One day I'll believe in the afterlife, because I want to think that good people who die sadly when they're young get to at least be in heaven. Or I'll believe in, like, reincarnation. Like, hey, 4-year-olds can get hit by cars, yeah, but it's okay because they'll get reincarnated to a really good life in another lifetime. Or hey, that dude who was an evil politician and a rapist and got away with it, it's okay. He's gonna be reincarnated as like a terrible, stupid little bug that like has the worst life ever. I like to believe in shit like that. It helps me cope. Or sometimes I like to think hell is real because if there is, there's a special place for anyone who's ever wronged me ever. I'm kidding. Some of them aren't going to hell. Some of them, it's like, eh. Some of them I like to think that they'll just get the hell they will suffer on this planet, whether it's because of spiritual or divine forces or just because of their own fucking actions. Some people's hell and some people's karma is simply put that they never grow as people and they'll keep doing the same dumb shit with every woman they meet, every man they meet, every person, everything about their life, and then they will just be unsatisfied. Now, so I guess let's get more into my spirituality. I believe spirituality is important. Like, throughout my life, I've had several things that just were weird. Like, I've always had a gut feeling about certain canon events that would happen in my life. When I was younger, I had a feeling that it's like a lot, like, it could have just been me watching a bunch of R-rated movies, but I had a gut feeling like things are going to get really fucked up for you and traumatic for you when you're in high school. And, like, really, really bad, but you're also going to go through a lot of good. And it's always going to be exciting. And that is true, and to this day, I don't know. I feel like most of what I thought would happen did, but I guess nothing too noteworthy. Oh, actually, something noteworthy. I remember specifically for years and years and years when I was like a teenager, and then when I was young adult, and then throughout the pandemic, and then even when I was homeless for a bit after my mom attacked me. I remember I specifically for ages, ever since I was like, let's say 15 or 16, I wrote a list of everything I want. I said, I want men who love me in droves. I want to have like huge friend circles. I want to be internet famous or like very popular online, but it won't fuck up my life. I want to work as a fucking luxury concierge at like big buildings where I get to meet rich people all the time. I get to have, ooh, I want my own place and it'll cost like an obscenely low amount of money. Like no roommate, none of that. Just like I get my own bedroom. And I also want this hairstyle, these clothes, this looks, this type of treatment for men. And I planned on that for years. And I remember I got to boast about that at my job as a luxury concierge that I had been at for years, consistently paying rent and making really good savings on my apartment. And then I had how many men interested in me at once? I remember at that same job, a man approached me. He was like, hi, can I get your number? And I should have said, oh, no, I'm sorry. Not to say you aren't cool. I just have too many people who like me right now. He was like, word? And I said, yeah. And he didn't believe me. He said, how many? I said, like 7. He was like, 7? I said, yeah. And then he stared at me and I started counting. I was like, let's see, Juan Carlos, Leon, Morgan, Dupac, that one guy. This one, I don't know if he will. Oh, and then this one date came up. So yeah, about 7. And then he was like, God damn, Tam, you just dropped a bomb on me. I said, yeah. He said, well shit, add me to your roster then. I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't have enough time as is. And I don't know, like, I do believe in manifesting because, I don't know, I also believe in other forms of spirituality. Like, for example, like, it's funny because my mom's side is, like, Christian in the sense of tell people you're Christian, don't read the Bible, because black people get really weird if they find out that you don't read the Bible. Understandable. No offense, some of y'all in my comment sections piss me the fuck off, so stop doing that shit. I don't believe in your religions. I don't have the white man's religion. Fuck you, shut the fuck up. I know, I fuck white dudes, I don't have the white man religion. Ain't that a trip? But I'm just saying. Also, I know there's going to be angry comments like, oh, don't call it the white man's religion. I'm just saying, thousands upon thousands of years, and a lot of people who looked like me died. I'm like, I don't know what else you want me to call it. I'm sorry. Like, kudos to you, though. Doesn't mean I have a bad view of Christian. Well, I'm going to be quiet. Let's go to the topic I'm talking about. Anyway, but I have been very free-flowing with my beliefs. I forget if it was Taoism or Taoism when I was a teenager, but I did like that, where it was a bit more like peaceful and zen. Buddhism sounds fucking cool, and I think they have a lot of good points. Christianity, when people practice Christianity good, like give to thy neighbor, love thy neighbor, don't throw stones if you know you got some shit yourself. Like, love people, give to people, feed the hungry, give out money while you can, and fuck the rich. Like, that shit's, it's like, there we go. Like, and also the little things about, like, modesty here and there, it's like, that's debatable, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna die if I see some cleavage, but I will admit, society does function a little better when not everyone's so fucking lustful and horny, so I'll give you that, and that's coming from me, mild sex addict. And then Islam, let's see, my dad's side practices that. in a debatable way, where it's like all they do is like go, oh, I pray every blue moon and I don't eat bacon, so yippee. And then yeah, they kind of fuck up all the other rules. I already told you in another video about how my grandmother was the type that would purposely talk shit during Ramadan, and she'd be like, oh damn it, fuck, now you've got me swearing and talking bad, and that's against the rules of Ramadan, so therefore I'm gonna pick up this nice turkey sandwich I had pre-wrapped in the fridge with that cold drink. It's just like, girl, I don't think that's in the rules that you can do that, but okay, whatever. Oh, and I guess currently, let's see, I like to be open-minded. Some people say believe in the universe, like the universe is ever so vast and unimaginable, and things will always turn in your favor depending on what you ask for it, and the universe has plans for you. And I don't know, some of the rules don't make sense, because it'll be like, okay, let me get this straight, the universe has a planned fate for me, but it won't give me it unless I ask for it, and then even if I do ask for it, it can tell me fuck no, and it's like, it's a layered thing. And also some, like hoodoo, for example, or certain types of witchcraft, it's like, okay, so let me get this straight, the universe has it in my fate to have this thing, but it's like, fuck you, you specifically have to get a bunch of candles and put your own fucking fluids and herbs and seasonings and spices and carve names and light it and do these rituals and take baths, or else we're not gonna give it to you. What the fuck is that? What the fuck? Like, it's like, okay, is the, like, I'm just saying. And then some people, I don't know, I also kind of am this way about spiritual, because it's like there's people out there that are like, I kill chickens in my closet 16 times a day because that's exactly how I will get God to give me a husband. It's like, I don't, that's a little much. But then also there's people out there that will be like, the way to manifest is that, simply put, you get a red pen and a little notepad and you write, I am the best, and then God will make you rich. It's like, I think it's like different struggles for different folks, but it's like, I don't know, the one seems to be doing too much, the other one just seems like, I don't know, you know, that's just an affirmation, but whatever, if it works for you, let's go ahead. I know that for me, I did a lot of visualization, affirmations, scripting out my life. I worked on the law of attraction and the law of abundance and being grateful for what I had and tried, and I did notice huge changes. But also specifically, let's talk about like the spiritual shit. I feel like getting into it, but I won't get into it too much. I remember for years I had been interested, I wasn't that interested in witchcraft. I thought it was for schizophrenics and people without friends who just wanted a community to gush over about cool rocks with, like autistic people. I am autistic and I have mental stuff, which you might hear about, so I can say that. But simply put, I had this friend, her name was Audrey. We walked into this nice shop. It was called the Sacred Well, and that place fucking sucked. It closed down. Fuck that place. Hate that place. But simply put, me and her, we went inside of the business, and I remember it was funny. She was like, does anything in this room call to you? And I had like a tingling sensation, I think in my left arm, but also in my gut and my heart and my mind. And the way it feels is that it kind of feels like whatever, like it's just like, I don't know how to, let me see. It feels like the thing that you're supposed to do mildly glows when you look at it. And if it doesn't feel like that, it feels like a tingle, or it feels like you're being pulled by an invisible rope. Or even the most mild sensation, like, I don't know, imagine someone was doing the equivalent of putting out their hand to you and saying, come, do this, and you feel drawn to it. But imagine there's no one there, you just feel like the same beckoning motion to a specific item, person, place, or thing. That's happened to me many times, it freaks me out. Sorry. But to put it simply, I remember I saw these rocks, and they were beautiful. And I was like, oh, what type of rock is this? She said, oh, it's a carnelian. How about you look it up and see, like, what you can know about it? And then I shit you not, when I picked up that rock, it was like, I picked up that specific rock. It was beautiful. I still have it. I looked into, like, what it could symbolize and, like, the astrology related to it. Why did that shit perfectly align with my birthday? And then on top of that, it was also my favorite color. And then on top of that, like, it said some other shit, too. And I was like, what a strange coincidence this is. You know what? I think I'll buy it. And I bought it. And then but I also looked into it later, and it says this is a stone for like creativity, passion, vitality, and those were all things I wanted to work on. So it's like, oh, interesting. And I kept that little rock with me as a good luck charm, and it worked out pretty well. And then when it came down to There was something. I went to that same shop later. I had the same calling towards this like pile of petrified wood. I was like, this is interesting. It's wood, but a crystal. I'll take it. Why not? And then I waited and waited, but I eventually went home, looked it up. It's like, oh, the exact same thing. It was calling me to focus and to do this and to do that. And it was also a very beautiful stone. So even for artistic reasons, I was like, this feels great. I enjoy this quite a bit. But it also was in alignment with my exact birthday and the exact goals I set at the time. So it was like, wow, this is interesting. Also, when I was younger, growing up with my sibling, I remember that me and her used to sit at my step grandmother, I guess you could call her that. We used to sit at this table with this pendulum. It was like some sort of fallen pulley string for like a lamp, you know? And we would used to use it by asking it questions and asking it yes or no, and it would move in the direction we said. But I guess I tried something similar like that again. I heard of this thing called candle wishing for witchcraft. It's when you set up some candles and you and you kind of like before you light it, you light like a happy birthday candle. Like you could do it with any fucking candle, even that shitty ass Bed and Body Works candle you got that you never fucking use. And you just like ask it a question or set an intention, and then the flame will kind of like send a message to you depending on what you request. I tried that out. I remember, let's just say I forget how often, but I remember one specific moment scared the shit out of me. I don't think I want to tell that story. It's a little scary, and I don't want to seem too woo woo about it. Let's just say the first few times I tried that candle wishing shit, holy fucking shit, some things got predicted that I did not expect, and that felt really good. And I was like, I should do this more often. Hell, I'm just gonna start lighting candles and saying what I want to happen as if it's a birthday candle. And then shit started happening even miraculously, even shit that didn't make sense. I was like, I want my mother to start giving me more. I was like, I want my mother to start giving me more. I want people to just give me fucking money. Like, any chance they can, they'll just call to give me money. And I'd light the candle, and then the candle flame would get super high, no black smoke, no anything. And it would burn so vibrantly that even if I was in the darkest room in the middle of winter, the whole room would glow from the light of that candle. And then I would even feel myself and like the energy and space around me like glowing hot, like as if it was a summer day, even if it was the coldest fucking winter night ever. And that's how I knew it was working. So then, next thing you know, I remember it'd be bullshit. Like my mom being like, "Here's some money, go do something today," and she'd like hand me like $20, or even like sometimes absurd amounts, like $100. It's like, whoa, oh, okay. Or I'd be at school and it's like people would just be like, "Oh, Tamia, you got that thing coming up, right? Here's some money, go use it for." Like it's like, oh, and then people would just come out of the woodwork trying to give me money. And this happened for years, even like before the pandemic. I remember people were just like, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, I'm going to wish for money in abundance. And then people who like it wouldn't make sense. I would be online. Someone would be like, "Hey, I heard you had a hard situation with your with food scarcity. Here's $50." I'd be like, "Oh my god, thank you so much. That's wow, that's really nice." They said, "Don't mention it, don't mention it." And then later on that same day, someone was like, "Hey, I saw your post. Sorry I didn't reply sooner." And they said, "You want me to give you some money?" I said, "Oh, it's alright. I already got $50 from someone today." They said, it's fine. Here's some more. And they gave me another, and I kept getting that from like hella people in one day. I was like, God called upon my answers. And then I think that same day, then my mom gave me money, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, wow. Scary. But awesome. Like, I don't know, this spirituality shit gives me the same level of like adrenaline fear you get before you go on a roller coaster. Because you don't know what the fuck could happen on that thing, but boy, is it exciting regardless. And then, let's see. There's some shit I could tell you. Let's get into this. I remember actually the very start of the pandemic. At some point, my grandmother moved out because, I don't know, my mom just figured, if I'm going to be stuck inside all the time, I'm not going to be around that loud, stinky bitch. Like, especially if I can't leave the house because it's a fucking shelter in place, and I have to be around her stinky, rude, dumbass all day. Yeah, she's getting out. And my mom put her on a list. My grandma thankfully got Section 8 housing. They fucking moved her out. Amen. And I remember it came so suddenly, but at some point, you know, I kind of was like, my mom was showing signs of being a bitch. Like, one second she said, I'm going to give you a whole week to get this room together. Because, mind you, the room had fucking shit on the walls, dried up Jolly Ranchers and chili beans that my nasty-ass grandmother spat onto the floor and didn't tell people about for years. We had to find that out when she moved out. And then a lot more was happening. And it was just like, let's just say, my mother is a bitch. So she did this thing where she was like, oh, I'm gonna give you a whole week to take care of this bedroom so it looks perfect. But then next thing you know, like, it wouldn't even be within an hour of my grandmother leaving, and my mom would start, like, bursting into my room, kicking open my door. Her favorite thing to do, because she was a stupid fucking bitch. And she would want to feel powerful with her ugly, stupid ass. Sorry, I don't like that woman. And then lo and behold, she'd be like, "Hey, guess what? like, why is this not together? Why is that not together?" And it's like, mind you, it's like y'all like you just dropped her off. But at some point, I kind of knew that bullshit was gonna go down, and I happened to look up this amazing recipe online that I just so happened to find, specifically about like floor washing and wall washing, and how it's a spiritual practice that can protect you in times of danger. And it was like, oh, let's see. I have salt, I have hot water, lemongrass, yeah, orange and lemon zest, yeah, I got that. I have cinnamon, yeah, okay. Oh, lavender, rose petal, oh, and I kind of was like, oh, okay, I have some of this already in tea bag. So I just simply was like, let me get this tea bag. And I forget if that's when I had Florida water at the time. But I think that was incorporated later. But I was like, okay, I readied the ingredients, made a steaming hot pot of it in a nice like stainless steel bucket, prayed over the mixture, my exact intentions. I prayed, please God, please protect me from, and make sure no one comes into this room, make sure they avoid it like the plague, make sure I am not bothered, that for some reason they don't even want to step a single foot in here and they leave me alone. Not my siblings, not my parents, none of that. I want peace. I prayed over the bucket, and it was very intensive. But I spent the whole time like I got a huge mop and I was washing down the walls, washing down the walls. I did that on all four walls, and then the end of it, it said, dump the remaining liquid down your front porch steps to clear out the negativity. And then I did that ritual, and then let's just say my room smelled amazing for the first time in ages. And then oddly enough, for months my mom did not step into my room. An anomaly. I was extremely grateful. And at that point, I was like, this seems a little bit too undeniable. Cause like even like if my mom would still ask about my room or whatever, but it's like no, it was actually a point where it's like I would even open my door to talk to them. She wasn't kicking open the doors. My whore of a fucking half sibling wouldn't even try to come in. I would even be trying to be like, hey, check out this thing I set up in my bedroom. Would you like to see it? They'd act like I. They acted like fucking vampires. Like even if they were, or worse than vampires, even if I invited them in, they'd be like, fuck no. They'd be like, oh, I'm good. Nah, I don't feel called to do that. And they just like, like they obviously didn't say called to do that, but it's like, nah, I don't feel the need to. They would just not. And that was a blessing. I got to actually have, like, I was still traumatized and recovering from like many, many years of living with my grandma and all the trauma I faced unnecessarily, of course. So it wasn't perfect healing, but boy oh boy, did not getting disturbed helped the process. And then at some point, I found this witchy lady on Etsy. I could say her name and promote it, in case someone really was like, you know what, if the oils worked for Tamia and her life seems to have gone pretty fucking well. Like, I know, I make videos crying on the internet, but believe it or not, my life still goes pretty fucking well. I have a fucking nice, fancy ass, expensive date tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Don't send bad energy my way. But I will say this. I was at a desperate place. The pandemic and being inside all the time with no real income. Like, the only way I was really getting, like, sometimes my mom would feed me. Like, sometimes she'd fill the fridge with food. Other times, not so lucky. And it's like, it's a multi-layered thing. It was a very fucked up household. Like, yeah. Like, hell, at some point I got used to not eating for years, that even if she did get me food, it would take a while before I'd reach the fridge, and it's like, ah, shit, it molded super fast. God damn. And then I'd have to figure out a way for food myself. But this lady on Etsy, she seemed cool, and it was kind of funny because it's like she's following 3 different religions. It's like, okay, so let me get this straight: Brujeria, Hindu religions, and also hoodoo. Like this bit, like why are you collecting religious practices and spiritual practices like fucking Infinity Stones, Thanos? But you know what? I was like, let me give this a shot, because you know what? She seems like her life's doing well. And also, hey, if she's mastering each one, can I even be? It's like, okay, you know what? She's got all the forces on her side. I'm gonna try it. Plus, the prices were pretty cheap. I forget if it was 12 or 20, but either way, I was like, I'm gonna splurge. I got this nice, let's just say, I got 3 oils. All of them were abundance oils, but they all had distinctive differences. I had one oil where it's like whenever I wanted money from a man, like who was very, very sweet on me. I would put that on, even if the man, like, even if I was just talking to a dude. I wouldn't be in his house. I wouldn't be on a date with him. Just talking to a man. I would wear that oil, and then men would be like, "Oh my god, can I get you something? Like, is there anything that you want right now? Any food? I don't know. Do you like nice necklaces? Oh, where do you want to go shopping?" Like, they would just feel extra called to be sweet to me, and it was like, oh, wow, huh. The second oil I got, this was more of a anyone will do this for you. So when I put the second oil on, it was like people who see me with that oil would feel like magnetized. I would feel confident and charismatic and charming, like an oil you'd wear before you get on like a Discord call or go to a party or a social event where you don't meet other people. And people would just feel like drawn to talk to you. And also on top of that, they'd even be like, "Hey girl, you want something? I can get you some money. I can get you some food. I can get you some of this." Like, and it would be obscene to the point where it's like, damn, I feel like a fucking socialite. It's like I'm Black Paris Hilton in here. I love that. Amen. And then the final oil. This oil was a quick money oil. So it, like, let's say, but the condition is, ironically, I got that oil and it's like my skin would have a terrible reaction to it. It could have been the fact that there were actual cuts up pieces of money in it, or it could have been some sort of oil or ingredient she used. I don't know. All I know is I could not use that oil often. So if I put it on, it would start burning and itching on an area so terribly. Plus, it didn't smell the greatest. But you know what would happen? Even if I wanted something obscene, $300, $700, like money instantly. I would put on that oil, and the next thing you know, it would go from like me being broke as fuck to, oh look, a guy's giving me like fucking $300, $500 just to go on a date with him. No kiss needed, no hug needed, just simply showing up to a date. $500. That was fucking insane. And oh, it like, even if it was like a bad customer service situation, put on that oil, talk to them, suddenly it's like, oh hey girl, don't worry, we'll waive that fee for you. Also, here, extra money. Also, you know what? Extra money on top of that. Like, it was obscene. It was great, let me tell you. And at that point, I was like, wow, this is fascinating. Let's believe in it. Now, and it was funny too because I had several other friends who either didn't practice any sort of witchcraft, hoodoo, uh, conjure, any of that shit, and then I had some who did. I told them about my experience with the oils. They were like, "Hey, if Tamini has it and we all love her in this fucking Discord, I'm gonna get it too." And I gave them the links, and then holy shit, like one of my friends, they are, or ex friends, but still non-binary, and but you know they look like a chick. Basically, like it's like, or a trans man, but they look like a chick. What can I say? For I can still recognize their gender as their gender, but it's also like it's like, I'll put it this way. It's kind of like they look like someone mixed Salma Hayek with Penelope Cruz, gave them massive double D cups, and then shaved their head. So if I fuck up pronouns, I'm sorry, but I will just say it. It factors in because either way, trans man, he still was like going into his shifts and shit, and he worked at like a titty bar, so he was vibing and like he put on that oil, and then every man in a radius was like, "Give me that! Ooh, give me her for the table! Give me her for the table! Oh hey!" And like buying extra drinks, tipping hella good, tons of money flowing in. They were like, "Holy shit! At this rate, I can afford a fucking house," because they live in Texas, and they were like, like it was great, like holy fucking shit. And then this other girl, I remember, she went for this terrible ass man, and I hated it. But you know what? She still managed to make him a trick. You want to know why? The oil. Or she just got good with her finesse. But I'm going to say the oil, because why the fuck not? Like, let's not fuck with the god who blessed that oil, okay? I'm just saying. I don't want to get smited because I'm out here like, yes, the oil. Like, oh, it's not the oil. They just have finesse. No, it's the oil, bitch. Because my friend went for the most grimy, cheap man ever who was like, come watch anime in my crib and fuck. And she went with him. But then guess what? The oil. And like, she did her thing. And then next thing you know, he's taking her out shopping and they're going on boats together and trips and he's paying for her hair and makeup and stuff. It's like, okay. That's what I like to hear. So that shit was like, hell yeah. It was awesome. And oh my god, I loved that. So because of that, like, also, if you're ever like, see, this is also another reason I don't like when people get in my comments on some like Christianity bullshit. Whenever someone brings up God will smite you for your sins, it's like, nah, because the goddess I follow blesses me for the shit I do. I talk my shit, I stand on it, pussy good as fuck, looking cute as fuck, doing everything I need to, for the most part. And simply put, and then I get rewarded. I'm not gonna just dismiss all my good shit because you say so. Fuck you. Like, I don't know. The mystery of life and things surrounding spiritually and religion are so fucking amazing and beautiful that I love them. But I really do not like people who are very closed minded, because I believe if you want something to work, it will. If you put in an effort, like, I don't like people with self fulfilling prophecies. I don't like people with restrictive mindsets and, like, narrow ways of thinking. It fucks me up. I fought very hard to get out of those mindsets based on the upbringing I had. You're not putting me back into a box because that'll suit you and your desires. I hate to break it to you. If your God really wanted, like, I'm just saying. Like, someone recently tried to be in my comments, like, you need to forgive your parents or else you're gonna go burn in hell. And it's like, nigga, you saw that other video I made all about how, it's like, you've seen every video I've made about their evil actions and her trying to kill me, intentionally and unintentionally. Like, yeah, that's really all I need to say. But wait, there's more. You saw that video I made about how forgiving and forgetting, like, how sometimes you can't forgive, you can just forget, and that's perfectly fine in itself. Distance yourself from the situation, it's fine. Cause nah, fuck forgiveness, nigga. You think I'm gonna forgive Hitler? Fuck no. I'm not gonna forgive Yeah. Sorry, let me not get too much on a tangent. Let's just say someone who was in my DMs a few months ago trying to buy titty pics now suddenly wants to preach the word of what the Lord wants. I don't fuck with that, cause it's like, just like, nah, evil as fuck. Repent thee. Because it's like, sorry, nigga, I prayed to my higher powers, and they blessed me with my own home and independence and safety and blessings. And people who love me and a great job and a great social media following and a lot of blessings into my life. And also protection from that evil bitch. Simply put, I'm going to follow what works for me, you follow what works for you, and you keep your ass away from me. How about that? Yeah, because if I'm going to burn in hell, keep your ass away from me. Because why do you want to associate with sinners? You can't save my soul. It's already being saved by who I believe in. So, yeah. Like, I don't know, do you go to biker fucking gangs and you go, hey guys, I'm gonna fucking buy a motorcycle to follow you around all the time and watch everything you do and just honestly remind you that you're going to go to hell? Is that what you do? Because if you do, that's a waste of fucking time and gas money. Like, in this economy? Also, why am I opening Mountain Dew? Let me get off of that. Oh, but yeah, and I don't know, spirituality is fascinating, but I will say this, I guess we can get into this topic because it's relevant. Do you know that guy Mitchell that I was with for the week of Christmas, crashed out over a month for, and we talked for almost a week again, and then recently we ended things fully? Yeah, Mitchell. If you're wondering, Tamia, do you have a good or bad opinion of him? I'll put it this way. I had a breakdown today. I like to think that it's still. I wrote fucking 13 pages of poetry about that nigga today. Let's just say, if I were to sit here and say that I hated that man, it would be a lie. But also, it was surreal because the way he came in, and I guess this is the perfect time to bring up this story. So, I follow this goddess. Her name, if I apologize if I've gotten this wrong, let me actually look up how to pronounce it just to make sure. Just to not fuck with her. Now, it's extra funny because I remember at some point I thought I was Indian mixed. And this is specifically because my Muslim grandmother on my dad's side, she was like, did you know you have Indian in you? I was like, no, I had no idea. Like, what kind? And, like, she was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, we got Indian in us. You didn't know that? And I was like, no. And then I remember I looked up so much Hindu shit. I was looking at all types of, like, Hindu, Punjabi bullshit. I was like, ooh, I almost got outfits because I was like, you know what, let's lean into this shit. Fuck it. Why not? Life's short. And, you know, I'm not fucking Asian, but you'll still see me wearing a fucking kipao, if that's how you pronounce it. Or cheongsam, if that's how you pronounce it. I love those. I have one. I used to have more, but then cultural appropriation was trending, and I gave them away. Whatever. I hope someone picks them up at that Goodwill. I like to think that because it's like I paid too much money for them in the first place. Or no, I paid a lot in the first place for a teenage girl, is the better way to say it. They were real silk. Didn't fit me. Never wore them. Oh well. I got one left. It's still cute though. I mean, it's not as cute as the other ones. Those ones looked amazing. The new one, but it's okay. Life goes on. Let's focus on the topic at hand. Anyway, eventually my grandmother, me and her got talking. And she eventually, like, explained that she was like, yeah, we're Indian. We're like, we don't know which type, but yeah, the fucking colonizers came to America and killed us all. So, you know, and the one who we have in the family remaining left, she doesn't really like to talk about it. She just represses all of it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do you mean Native American? She said, yeah, that. And it's like, and I said, you should say, You should say Native American. There's a difference, because we didn't come from India, and she got an attitude, but it's like, bitch, because of you, I almost started doing all types of bullshit. But, you know, one of them was getting into that little oil and certain religions. But you know what? Shout out to the Goddess Lakshmi. The Goddess Lakshmi. And if you are like, who is the Goddess Lakshmi? She's the Hindu goddess of wealth, good fortune, happiness, youth, and beauty. And, like, she's motherfucking that girl. She's the best. You cannot talk shit. Whenever someone's like, God will smite you for yours, it's like, no, because, bitch, I got Lakshmi. She's doing amazing. Amen. We love her. Mm-hmm. And simply put, holy shit, she is amazing. Goddess of prosperity, beautiful. Like, she likes all the shit that I like. We got the same type in flowers, same type in colors, sweets, money, abundance, gratitude, beauty, playfulness, charm, love, all that. Like, I want all that too. So it's like, hell yeah, girl, amen. But so something specific happened, and this ties into the Mitchell thing. And I will tell the full story of what happened between me and Mitchell later, when I feel I have the mental space for it. But it's a very complex and very long situation, and I don't know. I'm at that stage where it's like, do I want to repress what happened with him and forget about him, or would I like to just fully talk about it and then move on from it? Because I don't want to fully forget that it happened, but a part of me does. I don't know what would be safe for me now, but I'm figuring it out. But I remember specifically, I was having the worst time ever, like, in December. Most of this fucking year was terrible, I'm gonna be honest with you. And then, imagine that fucking, it's December 19th. The guy who, like, my ex-boyfriend Liam, I'd been telling him I loved him and being sweet to him, and I had been all month to keep myself happy during extremely dark times. I was like, ooh, let me get him this weed. Let me get him this other weed. Let me see what I can get him in my area, even though I'm broke as shit and suffering, because I want to, like, make him feel special. And I'm sure he's going to get me something great either. And I remember specifically he was like, oh, I haven't put any effort into, like, planning out your gift yet. No. And I thought to myself, it's December fucking 19th. And you haven't thought all month about getting me a Christmas gift, as I've been running around looking like a fool, smiling and planning shit for him? Oh, okay. So, I remember I just kind of laid on my floor, depressed as fuck. I forget if I was on coffee or alcohol or whatever, but I'm pretty sure I also had a hangover. And I also was hungry as fuck. And I was just really going through it. And I was like, this is fucking miserable. I hate this. I want to be loved. I don't want to be alone. I want to be happy, and I want to feel safe. And it's like, and I thought to myself, I'm a beautiful young lady. I'm a beautiful girl. This is my only option. Just some, like, scrawny twink white guy who can't even consistently take care of his teeth. And, like, has no hobbies, nothing. I don't even like him that much. But even then, even he is acting like I'm not the shit. And he's gonna spend time with his fucking family that hates me and totally ignore his phone and not talk to me, and I'm gonna be miserable and just here, hungry, cold, sad, depressed, feeling fucked up. And he gets to just, he gets the gift. He gets to have a bunch of fun gifts and fun times with people who hate me, and everyone on this planet who I've ever hated is gonna be having a 10 times better day than me. I fucking mm-hmm. So, I had an option, and I felt a calling. I felt a tinkle in my arm, and I felt a pull, and I said, fuck it. Why should I could lie here and kill myself. I could just fucking end it, because I'm tired of feeling unloved and cold and miserable and waiting to see the sun again. Or, I can do a ritual. And I remembered that specifically, I got up. I had some candles, set them up. I don't remember everything, because sometimes when I'm in a very... My best spiritual work happens when I'm high on emotions, and then sometimes I tend to forget what I did. But let's just say, from what I can recall, I got a candle, I dressed it in all the fitting herbs and spices and, like, everything I could to make sure it worked. Flower petals. And I carved in my intentions on the candles, and, you know, I lit tons of other candles around my bedroom to have it like a nice, enhanced, beautiful glow feeling. I took a shower. I washed myself down with, like, sea salt, like 3 different types of sea salt. and this nice soap that had like rose petal and oils in it, and also like lemons and lime, and peppermint, and I just manifested, I am clean, I am safe, I am protected. Everything works in my favor. Wealthy men are drawn to me, an abundance of wealth comes to me, and I am blessed in every way you can imagine. I am loved, I am peaceful, I am safe, and I am prosperous. And all things work divinely in my favor, and I'm a magnet to all sorts of wealth, charms, and especially good looking men who fit exactly what I want in my life. And then I got out. I made sure that I did my skin routine, but I also dressed myself in another rose oil and some rose toner setting spray, and I put on my nicest jewelry that I had, and I made sure my skin was sickeningly soft and smooth so that I could look and feel amazing, because I know that Goddess Lakshmi, she values hygiene and cleanliness, and from what I can tell, I think she would like roses. And I also, it's like, hey, you know what, she also would love the color pink. I'm pretty sure I put something pink on my body, and I forget if I played music or not, but I remember I just danced in the candlelight as I let the flames burn on that candle. And I admired myself in the mirror. I looked at my long, beautiful eyelashes and the flickering colors that swirled around my eyes. I looked at my nice, radiant skin glowing. I watched how the candle burned so feverishly and brightly that I just looked amazing. The whole room filled with warmth. My head felt light, but not in like I was gonna faint from misery, but like I was euphoric with pleasure. And then I straight up, this next part's a little blurry, but I know what I asked for. I said, God, goddesses, Goddess Lakshmi, the universe, my ancestors, any higher power that is out there and can give me what I want, I call upon you and I demand thee. I want you to send me a man who is like, because I also had a feeling, like, I know I could have asked for a lot of things in that moment, but I thought to myself, I had a gut feeling and an arm tingling feeling. It just would not shake. Like, my arm aches whenever I get like the feeling to do something. So I asked for a man. And I said, I want you to send me someone fine as fuck, intelligent, makes really good fucking money, like a software engineer or like some sort of engineer. I want you to send me someone who makes a fuck ton of money, a good job, a good head of their shoulders, make them really fucking tall. I'm talking like 6'5" type shit. Make them gorgeous. I'm talking like make them, and like I forget what race I asked for, but knowing me, I wouldn't be shocked if I asked to make them white. I'm pretty sure I said the words make them white, pale as shit. Because I have a thing for pale people. I said make them really fucking sexy, like physically fit, nice abs, long legs, fucking solid ass. Because I was like, yeah, I can't be too picky. How many fat ass white boys are gonna be out there? And I was like, make them fine as fuck. I mean, chiseled jawlines, nice lips, beautiful eyes, long lashes, silky fucking hair, good money, intelligent, empathetic, kind, sweet, smart. Make them generous. And I listed out as much as I could. I was like, you are sending me the perfect fucking guy. And I even visualized what that guy would be. And simply put, a lot that happened. And then I remember after that, I felt nice and sexy and also ridiculously horny. And I forget what happened next because, like I said, sometimes in the feeling of spells, you get caught up in the euphoria. So I specifically made a post online in the specific places I go for when I want sex. And I kind of thought to myself, let me keep the bar low but still be open to surprises. I made a post online like, looking for someone who I can fuck this Christmas who will cook for me. And I'm sure you can guess what happened next. Imagine you do witchcraft, like hoodoo, and like prayer, and like a whole dance routine oiled up, wearing fucking expensive jewelry, calling upon like the gods and whatever higher power it can help you to bless you. And then you wake up at like 10 a.m. the next day to like tons of messages, but then one stands out in particular, and it's like, hi, my name is Tony. I'm 6'5". I'm a software engineer. I'm mentally stable-ish. Actually, I also forgot to mention, I did specifically also ask for someone who was mentally. I didn't say mentally stable-ish, or did I? Because that sounds like some shit I would say. But I do remember I specifically thought to myself, that is what I asked for. Because I specifically thought to myself, make them mostly. Yeah, I said the words, make them mostly mentally stable. with just a little bit of extra, just for some fun. Cause I know me. It's like it's like, yeah, you gotta be a little to get along with me. I'm just saying. Anyway, and then let's just say that's how I met Tony. But then in a few days, they told me that they felt such a connection and they didn't want to lie, and that their real name was Mitchell. And Mitchell was everything that I wanted. Like, extremely pale, extremely beautiful, God, amazing, long legs, physically active, intelligent. Like, they spent their free time, like, reading and drinking tea and listening to podcasts and exercising. Like, physically fit, like, protector, provider, defender type. Like, an intellectual who cared about my emotions and made me feel really, really special. And a lot happened during that week where I can't hate him. But the trippiest, like, he fit everything I wanted. To the point where I kind of got scared. I thought to myself, is this some sort of fucked up, like, FBI, CIA, like, someone's listening into my monitors, like, like some sort of fucked up gang stalking shit, where it's like, alright, you heard, like, wouldn't that be funny and fucked up if some niggas on the deep web were just listening in to my fucking phone or computer cameras, and they were like, hey, you know what would be funny? Let's get this white boy in the group chat in this area to fuck with her. Wouldn't that be funny? And by funny, I mean, wouldn't that make me fucking... I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That would be scary. But yeah, since I don't believe that happened, I don't think I'm being gang stalked, even though if I did have a nickel for every time I met some... Well, I don't know. Let's not make that joke. Otherwise, I will get paranoid. Let's just say... Imagine you got everything you wanted overnight. Hell fucking yeah. I'm gonna believe in that fucking God from that point on. Like, for realsies. Now, what I'm gonna say to you is, this is the part that kind of fucks me up. So, with Mitchell, a lot of things happen. Like, certain things that we talked about, I have either never told people in my entire lifetime. Like, he was the first. And I said it to him without any sort of holdback or with total ease. Shit that I have never... Like, there's maybe only like 5-6 people at most who know a hint of what I discussed. He heard the full thing. And I said that so easily because I felt that safe around him. It was scary. And, like, certain topics, like, those who know me really well, like, I don't know, imagine you have a perfect hyperfixation, and the second you mention it, he immediately was like, oh, have you heard about the Jonestown Massacre? And it's like, nigga, and it's like, that's one of those topics where if someone says it, I consider them like a massive green flag, and, like, a lot of good happened that week with him. Scary good. Scary coincidences and synchronicities, and I was seeing angel numbers all the time, and just like, I was baffled. I thought to myself, this is almost overkill, and it might hurt when it ends, if it ends, but I'm just gonna throw myself into the moment because it feels goddamn amazing. But the wildest moment. Christmas Eve, good things happened, bad things happened. I don't know if I want to talk about the good because I want to save it for another video, but let's just say, like, people who I have met and been around millions of times, the second I came into the room with Mitchell, they were the warmest energies ever. Like, full-on people who I have never seen crack a smile in their whole fucking existence as they've been around me, were suddenly, like, jumping with joy and clapping their hands and smiling from ear to ear. Or, like, even at the Italian restaurant we went to that night, I remember that this lady, you know, she had a history of being cold and not exactly the warmest energy, and that evening she saw me walk in with him and she was beaming and gave us such good service, and like everyone in the restaurant was insisting we take photos together. It was scary how good it was. Like, we felt like celebrities. It was amazing. And you know, the rest of the evening, like, some good happened, some more bad happened, but let's just say, I don't know. Like, hell, it was weird because even in the middle of the night, allegedly I slapped the shit out of Mitchell. And it was I think it was like a sleepwalking, or I have long arms and it was a big bed. I wouldn't be, I've done that to someone before, my ex-Liam. I wouldn't be shocked if I just was trying to stretch and forgot he was there. But I remember he told me, yeah, I got slapped out of my sleep. I sat up and was like, what the fuck? And you were sat up, and then you just rolled over into bed. And I was like, oh, if that really did happen, why did the first thing you did on Christmas morning when you heard me wake up, why did you just immediately start kissing me? He said the heart wants and the body wants what it wants. I don't question it. Fucking crazy. But that's semi-relevant, because Christmas morning, that did indeed happen. I remember I woke up at exactly like 5:15 a.m. and I sat up and I was like, ah. And me just doing that gentle sigh, suddenly Mitchell woke up and just immediately pounced on me and started making out with me as if he had waited like 1,000 years to meet a soulmate. It was insane. I was like, whoa, did you sleep at all? He said, yeah, I was. I was just really excited that you woke up. And it's like, oh, excuse me. It's like, wow. And more happened, and like, let's just say Christmas miracles really do occur, because it's like, let me tell you, you don't the immense bliss of having your legs pinned back as some dude is munching on both of your holes as if you're like a hot bowl of fucking pork chashu ramen or udon with an extra rich broth, and it is the first meal he's had in millions of years. And then it's like a beautiful pastel sky was outside, and you could see the moon and you could see the stars, and it was like gorgeous, a gorgeous sunrise, and the man of your dreams eating you the fuck out and pleasuring you. Just, it was amazing. Shit like that, you can't hate that man. I almost want to cry thinking about it. But eventually we did decide rise and shine, and I think we showered together. Boy, did he look amazing. Oh, it's not fair. He's way too attractive. But I got up, and like, I took longer to get out the shower than he did. So, because I like the warmth. So he got dressed pretty quickly. And then as I was getting ready, because I was putting on lotion, and he doesn't, because he's pale as fuck. And he doesn't see why people need lotion and whatever. I remember I just hear him say, "Holy fucking shit, come out." And I'm like, not in an angry way, but in a he saw something surprising way. I said, "What?" I come out, and I think I'm like barely dressed. I'm still naked and oiled up at this point. Not that you need to know that. I'm sorry. But either way, I walk across the hotel room. I'm like, "Well, hey, babe, what happened?" He said, "Look out the window." And then it's just this fucking parrot on the fire escape. Mind you, it's like the coldest fucking Christmas morning, foggy as shit, Silent Hill level fog, dark as shit, cold as shit. Like no one's awake at that hour. It's a hotel, for Christ's sake. And then you just see a fucking gorgeous, gorgeous parrot sitting. It could have been anywhere else, but it specifically came to the very tip top of the fire escape. And it was tapping on the window and singing and chirping. And we both, me and Mitchell, we were like, why the fuck is there a parrot in this part of San Francisco? There should not be. In this part of the year, there should a parrot on our windowsill. So we open the window. And the parrot gets closer as if it wants to be held. I kind of almost regret not asking Mitchell, stick your hand out, see if it hops on it. But the parrot was like, it specifically targeted us. Like eye contact, singing, chirping, friendliest energy ever. And it was beautiful. And I was like, and it was specifically, this is the wildest part, it was a Christmas colored parrot. So Christmas Day, fucking, it's not even really 8 a.m. yet. And there's a fucking parrot with the most vibrant green, fucking feathers and red feathers and beautiful golden yellow eyes, just singing to both of us. We were both in awe. I thought to myself, no one's gonna fucking believe this. So not to break the moment, I was like, I'm taking a picture. He was like, go for it. Like, absolutely. And I took. If someone doesn't believe me, I have pictures with timestamps on it. And we just were like, holy fucking shit, this is miraculous. And Mitch likes ChatGPT, and so do I. So I remember, I am a spiritual person. Is he? Not so much, but he's open-minded. I told him, you need to look this up. Look up what this symbolizes. This could symbolize something. And then he looked it up. And I think we both looked it up, but specifically, this is where it gets a little crazy. In Hinduism, parrots symbolize love, fertility, and desire. They are also associated with Kama, the god of love. And they are also associated with fertility and new life. And the version he got on his phone was also like, hey, parrots in most cultures and omens. Now, there's other examples, like parrots can symbolize monogamy, companionship, the strength of love, new beginnings, and they can also be seen as messengers that send messages from the gods, and also a fresh start. Do you know how... Ooh, this is actually something that just came a second ago. 1 second. In Buddhism, the cries of some birds are considered auspicious or inauspicious. So the sound of a vandula, I don't know, I'm gonna look that up, 1 second. I just looked it up. Apparently certain birds and the way they cry can be seen as auspicious depending on the sounds they make, and it seems like that was an auspicious one. And like, we both were just like, holy shit. Like, I remember the smile Mitchell gave me. He was just like, he was like, huh. Like, he seemed comforted by that. I don't know if he fully 100% believed it, but in that moment, he still saw it as that's an extremely cute thing, and what a fun coincidence. Like, and he really liked the sounds of that. And I was blushing like hell, and I was just thinking to myself, don't get delusional. This is supposed to be like a one night stand. You aren't going to see each other after Christmas Eve, but let's just say a lot happened that week, and let's just say a few days later, he was crying about how he didn't just want things to end. And that was sweet. And I don't know. But you want to know what's crazier is that Mitchell only packed 2 outfits, so did I. And we went out again later that evening. And I'm glad I took photos. We took a lot of photos and videos of each other and the things we did. But the colors of the parrot matched Mitchell's exact sweater that he wore Christmas Day, the one he packed. And it also was the exact same shade of red as my dress that I wore with him that day. And it's like sometimes shit like that happens. What's another thing I forgot to mention is I'm a big fan of color coordinated clothing that matches my environment. For example, maybe it's just a funny coincidence that usually whenever I have the best nights of my life, it'll be days where it's like, oh, I'm wearing a sky blue dress, and that just so happens to be the day where like the sky is the bluest of blues, and I go into restaurants, everything's blue, and it's like, wow, it's like I'm supposed to be here. It's like I'm being called to these occasions. Or like I'm gonna wear an all pink outfit with a pink wig. I go to a bar with some friends, and it turns out that is an all pink bar. Or I'll even just be like, I'm gonna wear my special white dress with the orange and magenta blobs on it. I'll sit and I'm gonna wear my little sapphire earrings too, just like it doesn't fully match, but you know what, I'm cute, I can pull it off. And then I remember I'll end up at a bar or like a showcase or a comedy show, and the lighting and the decor will perfectly match what I'm wearing. And something about that just kind of feels as if like, oh, what if fate does exist? Or whatever the fuck. It just feels like the equivalent of like, imagine you were writing a movie or making a script. Like, it feels like some Truman Show shit of like, oh, to show how this character is about to have a life-changing moment and how something that is mandatory and beautiful and needs to happen is going to occur, we're going to have her wear the exact same color clothing so that she knows, like, so that the audience can tell this is the place to be. Like, I don't know, imagine you were having a movie and you were like, you know what, to show that these people get closer over time, we're gonna have one character wear red and the other character wear blue, and then they're gonna go on a long hike and journey together, but over the journey they're gonna get closer and closer, and then when it comes to the final day of their hangout, they're gonna be in front of this like beautiful purple sky, and they're both going to be wearing different shades that are still close enough of the color purple to show that how they have really grown to be with each other and around each other. And if now that I mention it, that actually did happen with Mitchell, and I have the photos to back it up. I remember like the last day of our trip. I remember he had on that green sweater, and he also had on these like dark brown pants and dark brown shoes with black in them, and I had on my dark brown and black skirt, and the golden bodysuit I had was almost the same color as it's like if you just saw our outfits and saw the way we both had dressed, you would have been like, holy fucking shit. It's like perfectly in sync color coordinated outfits, and let's just say a lot of uncanny stuff like that has happened in my life, so it kind of makes it hard to deny that there is some sort of higher power. And like, it's as scary as it is beautiful. I like to document it whenever I can, because otherwise people will say you're schizophrenic or whatever, or autistic. But what can I say? Pattern seeking behavior and fucking film degree and long beautiful life and different belief systems, you're bound to stumble upon something that's just a little uncanny. But yeah, spiritual shit like that like weirds me out. And we've come upon an hour, which is funny because I was going to bring up this topic first. You know how I said I have a tingle in my arm with certain things? Now this, it could be chalked up to autism or potential OCD, which ties back to autism, or other mental disabilities, but I know that specifically at some point today, I coughed so hard I almost pissed. I gotta wrap this up. I remember, so I wrote this down when it happened. Friday, January 31st, 2025. I wrote this at 6:30 p.m. today with a bunch of stuff. because I'm getting into that as a fun hobby of mine that I have abandoned. But specifically, like, at some point when I woke up today, I was hanging out with Liam. He was sick. I don't think I'm sick. I think I'm just swallowing my saliva and it's going down the wrong pipe or whatever. I don't fucking know. But specifically, this has happened across many times in my life. I don't remember when it happened, but like little things. If it's not my gut telling me, it'll be a sensation like a specific part of my skull, or like I just get a tingle. Like, for example, I remember at some point my ex-boyfriend Liam, his family was scared playing Mario Party with me because I would usually, there's a thing in Mario Party, the video game, where there's a segment where each character gets a chance to roll some dice and it'll let you know where on the board you can go. And I just kind of was like, I would get an instinct, or sometimes I hear a number or feel a number. So it could be something as long as wait specifically 13 seconds. And his family would just sit there in silence and be like, hey, it's me, it's your turn. I'd be like, yeah, I know. They'd be like, why aren't you rolling? I said, I gotta wait for the right moment. And then at some point, his older brother was like, just roll the Like, as soon as he said that, I would roll the dice and get, like, fucking high 10. And he was like, what the fuck? Wait, how did you? And then I would hear the word 3. And then I'd wait 3 seconds and roll the dice. And I would get, like, triple 10s. And then get the star and win the game. And his brother was like, what the... I really hope Liam didn't get me sick, but it would be amazing if I had a video that just was an hour of me seeing how sick I can get delayed from Liam. But either way, let's just say his brother went from like super skeptical to kind of scared to I'm gonna do what Tamia does. I'm gonna just let it roll. Let it roll until my body or whatever tells me what to do. And I would still win so many fucking Mario games that at some point the other brother would just be like, nah, fuck it, she's playing, I can't do it. It's like men in their 30s losing their fucking mind over video games. But and then of course later on there was I could go to the grocery store and then I'd get a tingle in my arm and a sensation in my brain that just tells me, don't grab the first applesauce that's closest to you. Grab the one behind it. And I kind of thought to myself, that just seems like OCD bullshit. No. And I grabbed the first applesauce. You want to know what happened? That applesauce that I should have grabbed violently and loud as fuck in the middle of this empty store slammed on the goddamn ground and made a huge fucking glass shattering, sauce splattering mess. I had to apologize profusely. They were like, it's alright, you ain't gotta pay for it. But I was blushing for like fucking hella long after. I was like, let me not ignore my instincts then. And sometimes it could be even dramatic scenarios, like really dramatic. And this is how I will explain it. To wrap this nice lengthy video up, I will talk about what happened today. Because it could just be vague sensations, but I'll still understand what it means. I wrote, I had an omen. I was opening Liam's fridge. He got 2 types of Mountain Dew. He said he wanted Mountain Dew Voltage, but I had a weird calling in my veins that was like, you should grab the other one. And I heard a voice, or I heard I can't even describe it as a voice. It's more like a weird tingling sensation. You know, I don't know if many people have that thing where you can think things without hearing words in your head. But for me, it's like an undeniable tingle. It feels kind of like the equivalent of like, I don't know, worms or something like coming into your head and massaging it. Kind of like that chick from the Daredevil versus Wolverine movie where she has that power where she can just go through your head with her hand. It's kind of like that, but like invisible and non-painful, just like a little massage or like a swivel, like a little, think things. And I had 2 choices. Reach for the Mountain Dew Voltage and you'll have a pleasant night with Liam. You'll probably like play video games with him, have a nice time, exciting day, get whatever food you want, and have an exquisite time, and he'll feel good and you'll feel good, but deep down something will be unfulfilled. Something will not be addressed, and it's gonna fuck you up as soon as you get home, and it's gonna just be some weird lull feeling that's just gonna hang around you the whole day. Or reach for the mystery flavor and have a nice time watching Hunter x Hunter with Liam, but you will still, as you hang out with him, feel empty. Something will happen that will bring up old shit between you two and make you two feel like you are not on the same wavelength anymore. You will get necessary feelings of sadness and abandonment, but a breakthrough is going to happen. And it is an important thing that can happen that will put you on an amazing path going forward. So you're kind of given the option of have a fun, great day that is more great than your other days with this man. And then, like, But when you get home or later on in the day, there's still going to be a pang of emptiness that you will not address. And you can take this path, and it's the safe path. And it is an okay path. But it's still like, imagine someone's like, you will have the most amazing time of your life with this man today. You're going to bond, and it's going to be great. But after it's all said and done, an emptiness will come. And then the other path is, you will have a little bit of a nice time. Something massively fucked up will happen. But it'll put you on a path in life that takes you a million times farther, expands your emotions, will open doors for you, and really like make you feel amazing and glad that it happened in the long run. So it's kind of like, do you want short-term happiness or long-term happiness? It's gonna suck with either, because bad is inevitable. But one will make any good time feel like a delicious meal that you ate too fast but still be hungry later, or the one where it's like starve for a bit, suffer, and then be fed for the rest of your fucking life any food you want. So between the Mountain Dew voltage that he wanted and the mystery flavor that I wanted, I got the mystery flavor. And you want to know what happened? I remember specifically I tried to fight the fate. I was like, hey Liam, you want to play some video games? He was like, maybe, I don't know. You want to play that after some Hunter x Hunter? I said, yeah, sure. We watched Hunter x Hunter. The first episode was cool, but later on, let's just say conversational topics came up that really fucked me up. And like, let's just say we already had a fight the night before, but tonight or today kind of was like a continuation of that. And it had been a long time coming for a while. We just don't have shit in common with each other anymore, and it's getting bad. And let's just say, like, he doesn't try to do shit that makes me happy. He doesn't have any hobbies, and he's a grown man. That's depressing. You're a grown fucking adult with no hobbies. He said it so smugly the other night as if I was the bad guy. I remember the other night all I did was ask him, hey, I'm making a list of all the goals I want to set for myself and like little fun things that I want to try in my life while I'm here. Like, little things. And I was like, is there anything that you think you want to try in your lifetime ever? And he said, not really. I don't know. Maybe. And that's all you hear about him is the same answers to every question. If it's not silence, it's, I don't know, maybe. Oh, I don't know, I don't know. And I said, nothing you can think of at all. And then he kind of snapped on me. But, like, not aggressively or abrasively, but he just was like, I don't want to think about this right now. Like, no, nothing. And, like, and then I just kind of thought to myself, what a harmless question. And I also, in my journaling and writing and stuff, I very much, let's just say conversation took a turn. And then also, like, I told him about something I was going to do and I told him several things I was doing and looking forward to. He had no response. Not even I'm happy for you, baby, or that sounds really good. He just acted like he didn't want to hear me. And I just thought he was so fucking pathetic, and it kind of reminded me of why I fucking left him in the first place. It's like, this is why I didn't want to, like... And I just kind of... Conversations took a turn, and I even showed him this list. I was like, hey, look, it's just like... It doesn't have to be big things. It's like, I'm just trying to make conversation with you. Like, hey, for me, I want to collect gemstones, and I want to, like... I don't know, like, try out more spas, and, like, I want to bake more, and, like... like, maybe take a singing class someday, or, like, try being an herbalist, or, like, wear pretty dresses. It's like, I'm just asking you, it doesn't even have to be anything, like, big. It could just be something small. You don't have anything small. And he just kind of, like, was like, I mean, yeah, I'm sure I do, but, like, what can I say? I don't have any hobbies. That's just the type of man I am. That's the type of life I have right now. And it's like, I just don't really want to talk about that. And I said, I'm not saying anything big. And I kind of started crying at this point. I said, I'm not saying anything big. I'm just like, you mean to tell me that you can't think of a single thing that you would want to do over the course of your entire life to get you joy, even something so ridiculously small, like bake or smell good or anything? And he just, like, threw his fucking tantrum. So, and he still was like, no. And I was like, oh. And alright. And it just was like, It's kind of ironic because I actually wrote a little poem the other night. I forgot I wrote this. I wrote this like, I'm pretty sure a few days before this happened with him, I said, I feel like a succulent in the sense that I thrive off of neglect, and I sit in the back like decor. No one notices me, except in passing. I could live and die, and it'll take weeks to notice, or years even. That applies to both how I felt with Liam these past few days, and how I feel hanging out with him in general. Just like I'm sitting there just to look nice and make him feel good. That he nurtures every once in a while, but there's nothing really there of substance. You know? Like, there's nothing. And the same for him. It's just like a mutual nothingness. And it just broke my heart the other night when he was so defensive. And it's like, what? I just told him, it's like, I feel like I can't talk to you anymore. I feel like we don't have anything to talk about. We don't have conversations. I'm just around you. We don't, like, do anything. And I don't want to bore you, and I don't want you to feel like you're boring me. But it's like, I can't even talk to you about, like, I told him, it's like, I couldn't even tell you about that class I was going to take because I figured you would, I had a gut feeling and a tingling in my arm that told me you would not have a good reaction to that. And I feel that with most things I talk to you about. And I feel like I'm embarrassed because it's like, I just want to know things like, oh, like, I want to learn things about you, and so I can make sure we still have things to keep each other in each other's lives, and I want to get to know you and, like, make sure that we still have something to connect us. And it just feels like I'm trying to, like, learn, like, what do you want to collect more jackets, or do you want to eat new foods, or, like, do new things? And no, you don't. And it just, I feel like it's just hopeless. And I almost cried and I almost went home, but I managed to stay overnight. And most of today was good, but as I said, like, today was the day where I did finally get out of bed with him, and I reached for a Mountain Dew. I chose mystery flavor. We watched some Hunter x Hunter. Conversation came up where he did the same thing he does as always, just even worse. I talked about that plane crash that happened and how, like, I had friends who lived in that city and, like, they knew people who died. He didn't care. I told him about laws Trump passed. He didn't care. I told him my stance on things like gemstones and, like, movies coming out and comedies and art, and he said nothing. And I wish I could say it got better. Let's just say, I don't remember. I cried really hard. And I looked out the window and I thought of Mitchell. Because you want to know why? Mitchell's eyes are the same color as my favorite shade of the sky. That nice, like, foggy, dark blue, Silent Hill fog color. It's a beautiful color. And his eyes looked just like that. He was my dream man. And I was with a Liam instead of him. And I just went to Liam's room and cried privately. And Liam didn't notice how much time passed with me gone. It was like 20 or 30 minutes of me just crying on his bedroom floor with his PS5 loading menu droning in the background. Just sitting there. I wrote 13 pages of poetry over how sad I was about Mitchell and everything I adored about him and why I miss him so much, even though he wasn't perfect. I still missed him. I still fucking missed him. He's everything that Liam isn't. I asked for the perfect man and I got it, and the perfect man isn't there despite all the supposed good omens and blessings. But you know what's funny? I had a feeling in my gut and a tingle in my arm to not hurt Mitchell any further, or to do anything further bad to him despite the bad he did to me. I don't know why. I also had a feeling to contact Mitchell. Let's just say, yeah. And, yeah. Is there anything else worth saying? I sent Mitchell my social media. I forgot I did that. I guess it's a protective measure for him, because sometimes I act out. But I sent him the video about the train station. You know, about how you can tell if you love or hate someone based on if they fell into a train tracks and there was a short amount of time to save them. Would you save them or would you let them walk? He's the type of guy I would say even walk away from. Or talk to make sure he's okay, but nothing else past. Just like, oh, okay, glad you're safe, good luck. I remember when me and Mitchell last talked before shit hit the fan over the phone, and I wish it didn't. I wish it could have gone a million other ways, but what can we say? Two people who are struggling to communicate with their emotions. And, you know, he's Like, he's a man. They aren't exactly the best with shit like that. He also has an ego, and he's stubborn as a mule, and I still like him regardless. Grossly enough. But, like, he did say that he didn't want to lose me. At least that's what he said at first. I wish he shut the fuck up and just let me breathe a bit. That phone call would have ended so differently. But, like, he said he wanted at least some form of social media so he can see how I'm doing and make sure I'm alright. And, like, be able to be happy, and that even if years down the line, if I got married to someone else, he would just be happy to know I was alive and happy. So I guess that's a fact. That's why I did it. And whether he is or isn't, I guess, like, I'm not begging on him for my happiness. Nor am I gonna beg for him to be around, but I just thought it was interesting. And yeah, he was everything I ever wanted in a man. And I guess it is good I still met him, because then men like Liam don't hold a fucking candle. Because I'll put it to you this way. It's kind of like that song from, that Fabulous made called For the Money featuring Nicki Minaj. He has a lyric that's like, if you could have Beyonce, would you take Solange? I hate to break to you, Liam is a Solange. And I know, Solange is very pretty and awesome and amazing, but I mean, this was 2000s video vixen standards. You know, it's still a fucked up lyric. I love Solange, and Beyonce is pretty chill. Like, I'm not saying Beyonce is not. Anyway, let me stay on topic. You get what I mean. I'm just saying, well, I'm waiting for that shit against Jay-Z to come out and other stuff. But cool. Beyonce's cool. We love Beyonce. Of course we do. Whenever she drops, my mood is better. Oh, but as I was saying, yeah, I prayed to the gods, and I got, like, an extremely tall, sexy, caring, doting man. The type of man where if we went to a restaurant and the staff were being fucking mean, then he would openly, like, be like, what don't you understand about what she's saying? She's speaking perfect English, and she's talking about common sense. Why can't you do what she's asking? And he would kiss my face and hug me close and tell me that I did nothing wrong, and that he wasn't going to tip them because they were specifically being so mean to me. And he acted like the ring he got for me was a damn near engagement ring. He didn't want to see me without it, and he would even touch it as if it was a real one. And he was very thoughtful and generous and sweet. And he was the type of guy where he could tell a car was following us, and he straight up managed to get us out of that situation safely. Like, he was decent. He was lovely. One could even say more than decent in a lot of ways. He was absolutely astronomically amazing. I wonder if we just had to meet. Not inherently because he's my soulmate or whatever, but just because maybe the gods knew Tamia's gonna fucking kill herself if we don't send her somebody. She's gonna not make it past Christmas Day. Or, hey, she's been good most of this year, let's help her out. Or maybe it was just two people who both were like, I'm estranged from my family, he wanted to estrange his, but still, like, couldn't and needed, like, a break, and he, yeah. I wish things would work out with me and him. I know I could fucking call upon a higher power to be like, hey, universe, send me a sign that he's gonna work out. He's the one for me. He's some great guy who I'm gonna spend the rest of my life and days with. I wish that were the case. I don't know. Funny as I talk, I have a tingle in my arm. I can't tell if it's because my hand is just aching or if it's true, but it's comforting, and even if it ends up not being a correct omen, maybe it has to happen. Because the depressing one, let's just say I remember for a previous ex who was terrible for me. I left them, but I was doing terribly. And I straight up was like, God, gods, whoever's out there, whatever higher power, please. If I'm meant to be with this man, and I just thought of something absurd, because I knew I only woke up in the late afternoon, and I thought I didn't have any orange dresses openly in my bedroom, because most of my clothes were dirty. And I said, if this man is meant for me, I want you to wake me up at exactly, like, 7:47 a.m. and show me an orange dress of any kind. And if you can't do that, then I'm going to take it as a sign that I need to move on from him. And you know what happened? I woke up the next morning at exactly 7:47 a.m., which is an anomaly because most days I was waking up at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., even 5 p.m. And I looked around my room and I saw not one orange dress, but two. And they were dresses where it's like I didn't even think I was like, These did not seem like they were there last night, but suddenly they're in my eyesight. How trippy. And that rhymes. But still, you get what I mean. And let's just say the months spent with that man were awful, but I don't know, maybe they needed to happen. I forget. I've repressed a lot of memories about that relationship, but I don't know. One can factor in that me staying in that terrible relationship is why I'm working on such a good script right now. Maybe it was just something that was like terrible, but that would have put me on a path to like better outcomes. Like a Canaan event that would have resulted in me being an amazing filmmaker with a fresh, amazing story to tell that was unique and awesome and multi-layered, versus like trying to, like, I don't know, there is probably another reality where I would have tried to cope without him but wouldn't make the script and would not fully have like the self-esteem and reassurance that I made the right choice leaving him, or could have just offed myself, or would have starved for a bit. But you know what, I stayed with him. Good came from that, awful came from that. Like, but yeah, one way or another, I'm okay. I survived, and I don't like to believe that bad things happen for a reason. You know, I think I don't want to just believe that every single punishment is some divine warning, or I don't know. I don't know how to feel about. That's one of those instances where after that happened, I thought to myself, God, why do you keep putting me in situations to punish me? And even about Mitchell, I thought to myself, why would God send me the omen of the pants? I mean, of the parrots, and of all the things he said that were perfectly aligned with everything I wanted. Like, is this guy just a massive narcissist? And some answers are leaning to yes. Or, like, you know, there were many, many, many factors, and I don't know what to believe anymore, but I'll just say it like this. At the very least, I am happy that the journey is not always awful, you know? And hell, like, even when that fucked up relationship did end, I still had a bunch of fun stories out of it. Or not fun, but you know, I got to cut off some people who would have been even worse to stick around. Some necessary things happened. Like, I'd say staying in that fucked up relationship I was in until the summer did a domino effect where it's like, okay, cool. Now that this has happened, like, she can fully have no reason to, like, because how do I put this? If I met some of these misogynistic men who I had later on dealt with after him without dating him further, I probably would have made excuses for them or stuck around with him. But I don't know. I guess I learned certain manipulation tactics and fucked up things, and I got the ick more because it's like, okay, you know how terrible my situation was in full, and you know this, this, and that about me, and you're trying to do things specifically to fuck with my head. Huh? I'm cutting you off. And yeah, I don't know. The world's a mysterious place, and it doesn't always make sense. But so, I don't know. But you want to know what's funny about that relationship I had? You know, the fucked up one, the non-Mitchell one, the guy from that summer, who I dated from like that December to like this passing summer. With him, I remember I had a weird feeling. Sometimes this happens to me. It happened before my mother attacked me. I had like a gut feeling to not spend any money because something huge was gonna happen. And I remember it was specifically a week where everything was going good for like weeks with my mother. She was still making mistakes here and there, and but it's like you could just feel this bubbling sensation, full body, don't spend a single dime, don't buy any packages, don't do anything. Fucking don't. Because a Canaan thing with your mother is about to go down, and you don't want to spend like $50 on some stupid earrings. You want to save your money, and it's good that I did, because what happened next, oh my god. I remember when I remember the same shit happened. I was like, I feel like I need to go to my mom's place. I can't wait. I have to do it now. And then that led to a lot of fucked up things happening that resulted in me estranging both sides of my family and being homeless and stuff. But guess what? I wore my oils, got hired for a job like immediately, went on with my life. And then I got a lot of tips and had a lot of people that liked me, and everything went pretty well. And then yeah, like everything worked in my favor. And specifically with that relationship with that guy, who I don't want to say the name of, he's so terrible. I will say that sometimes with him, I had a weird, like, maybe the week before I met him, my brain asked me a question out of nowhere. It's like, would you date a guy who had a kid? And I said, yeah, why wouldn't I? I would date a dude who has a kid, as long as it's not like the baby. If like is, I would only do it if the baby mother was not alive. If the baby mother was dead, so that I would not have to deal with baby mama drama, bullshit fights, custody issues, child support payments, none of that. Like, if I would date a dude who's a good, single, active father, works out, and, like, takes care of himself and the kid and is devoted and dedicated. And then guess what? That's when I met the man who I eventually dated. And it was wild because I told him that story too. And he was kind of fucked up. He was like, I'm not saying it's good that she died, but with her crazy ass, I guess it does kind of work in my odds, but it's not good to say that about a dead lady. And I said, yeah, it's not. But I was kind of thinking that same thing. It's like, if she was alive, me and you would have never interacted. It's like, hell no, you got crazy bitches who you are probably still nutting in. Nah! And he told me, yeah, I was nutting in her, even though I knew she was crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's not something you should be doing. And he was like, yeah, yeah. But yeah, and then I dated him, and I met his child, and me and his child had the exact same birthday, but also had a lot of the exact same mannerisms. He even told me, dude, every time I hang out with you, like, you either seem like a copy of me or a copy of my child. It's freaking me out. Yeah. I don't know, but I wouldn't be, and I remember he praised me as if I was the most perfect thing ever that he prayed for, and I remember he did me dirty. I wouldn't be shocked if he prayed to some higher power, like, please God, please send me the perfect woman. And he said, oh, okay, here's Tamia. Let's see if you can handle what you've been divinely asking for. Like, are you ready for what you've been praying for? And he had me. He fucked me up beyond belief. And then God was like, okay, we're snatching her out of your life because you are. Like, we gave her signs to stay in your life because we thought you could benefit her. But it's like, oh, okay, I guess you're benefiting her in the reason she's writing a traumatic script about rape and trauma. And sort of, but it's going to get her millions sort of way. And not exactly the going to help her be your loving wife and mother to your kids sort of way. So because you're evil, we're taking her back. And watch, we're going to immediately put her on a date with a fine-ass Colombian guy who's going to take her to Lake Tahoe. And then he was like, no! And then they said, there we go, just because you're still being a dick to her and stalking her, we're going to put her on a date with this dude who's getting her a ruby bracelet on the first fucking date because she deserves it. And Jared's like, no! And then Jared, instead of learning his fucking lesson, he just starts sending me fucking paragraphs saying that he hopes I get my clothes eaten and shat on by rats and that I kill myself and all sorts of evil shit. And then God was like, and just for that, boom, she's going to the most expensive restaurants in the city twice in one fucking week with her natural hair and a beautiful dress you've never seen her in, oiled up with fucking amazing jewelry on that you couldn't afford to get her. And yeah. And she's gonna suck a dude with a 13-inch dick off. And it's like... And he kept crashing out. But yeah. The universe works in mysterious ways. Sometimes it can be satisfying and beautiful as fuck. Other times you're just like, what the hell was this? But it's amazing. Oh, actually, I remember this specific thing happened. I guess I could include it. Sorry. I really hope I'm not sick. Sorry. I have a friend who does tarot readings, and people say tarot readings are not definitive, but they do often encourage people in certain pathways that could be beneficial or, like, could lead to a best potential outcome. Let's just say, with the guy with the 13-inch dick, the rebound I had, who we call boomerang dick, specifically, my friend pulled a tarot card. The first one, she was like, I gasped pulling this shit. Oh my God, what's happening? I get the feeling this nigga's evil. And I said, are you sure it's him who's evil? She said, I'm pretty sure. You seem sane. And I was like, ah. But then she pulled more cards and she said, I audibly gasped again. This might be the worst fucking tarot reading I have ever fucking done. And I was like, whoa. And the tarot reading was in the veins of leave each other the fuck alone because one of you is immature and psychotic and the other one is immature and fucking bullshitting and not communicating. Like, it's just extremely low chance of working out. And then the second card was like something like unharmonious connection, doomed to fail, blah. And then the third one was oddly optimistic. The third one was like, and my friend told me, I get the feeling you should not listen to this third card. Because for the way I'm interpreting it, it's saying you will find peace somewhere else. But the card also could be interpreted that you will find peace and harmony in the long run with each other. Like, maybe through, like, obscenely good, buck wild, fucked up circumstances, but I'd say fucking cut and run. That's how I interpret it. And I was like, okay, bet. And let's just say I left that nigga alone. After a little bit of chaos, I left that nigga alone. And I did not see him. Well, okay, I also did a jar on him. I forgot to mention I did a jar. But I forgot to mention this. I did a jar on him, and for the jar, I was manifesting that we would be friends, and maybe some sort of like romantic tension. Like, but mainly friends. Maybe a little crush, but flirty. Because shit got really fucked up. Let's just say, imagine, I talked to y'all about it. Imagine my shock when months later of no contact with this nigga, we matched with each other on Bumble. It's like, okay, nigga, your dick was in my face, so you know what my face looks like. No one else has my name. No, we live in the same area, too. It's so, like, the only difference is I got my hair braided, but it's like, there's even videos on my account. You can tell what my voice sounds like, but I find it so fucking funny that it had a Clark Kent effect on him, or he just was ready to risk it all again, because I did a great job, what can I say, when I first, anyway, did we meet? No. But you know what's funny? I saw him actually recently, like, this passing Monday, and it was buck wild as fuck that I saw him, because let's just say I was like, who's that ugly nigga who is still somehow my type? And then I realized it's like, oh, that's him, that's Boomerang Dick. Oh, fuck. But I texted him, I was like, we don't have to talk, I'm gonna leave you alone. He almost leaves, and I can tell he almost left. He was gone for such a bit amount of time. But then he comes by, and he just does like a slow kind of like look, like a stare, like of curiosity, just to see if I was docile or gonna bite him or whatever. And he stuck around. He performed terribly at his comedy, but he still performed it confidently. Just like not very good. The jokes weren't good, and I don't know. He's, but let's just say, like, we were pleasant, and then I guess he felt comfortable enough to even stick around, like, and be relatively warm to others, and like he wasn't scared of me or scared off. So it's like, I think that jar did do something. Like, it's like, okay, we probably won't date or anything, but it's like, it did something. Something. Because before, if he saw that or heard I was going to a listing, he would fucking cower and run. Like, he was terrified of me. Or he would just fully abandon the event if he heard I was going to be there. So that's a jump. And then, I kind of want to leave it on a good note, but I'll say this. Let's just say don't do love spells. If you're like, why not do love spells? Let's just say the year that I spent with Morgan was fucking it's actually, I forget why I did a love spell. I watched the movie The Love Witch, and I was like, why does this bitch keep trying to get stupid ass, lame ass niggas to love her? She should just love herself and have hobbies. But I kind of thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to have hobbies. I want him. I'm not happy enough to have hobbies by myself, so I want a man. Send me a man. Send me the fat Mexican sexy man. And he did. Fat ass sexy Mexican man. To be specific, he was a little chubby, but it's like his ass being fat. It's like, ooh, hell yeah. Fat Latinas on my dick. I mean, fat ass Latinas on my dick. Shout out to him. Mwah. Also, I noticed witchcraft works really well on Catholic niggas, in my opinion. I don't know why that is, but for Catholic niggas, they're just, like, so easy to do witchcraft on. Anytime I've ever done witchcraft, it's always a Catholic nigga just doing my bidding. It's extremely funny. I don't know why that is. Oh, but I was gonna say this. Let's just say I remember both times I did a candle on Morgan. I was mentally insane. But it's like, it worked because it could either be within, like, the second the candle stopped burning, that man went from having me blocked on everything to unblocked and being like, hey, are you up? I want to meet up with you. Here, I'll give you money and like a shit ton of roses. And then next thing you know, he would give me the best sex that I've had. Like, the sex was so good, I was like, thank fucking God for whatever higher powers and good and or evil forces are making this connection happen. Because it's like getting fucked to his fine ass. He was great. He was slutty. He was filthy. I love it. My dick's getting hard. I can't talk about this further. I have to put the Mountain Dew bottle on it because it's so erect. My God, my clit is gonna burst. But I'm just saying. Having a nigga fuck you to the beat of your favorite songs by The Weeknd and Project Pat and 3-6 Mafia. Amen. Amen. And the spell was pretty damn good. And then time passed, I think I did 2 or 3 in 1 year. I was insane. But let's just say, it worked every fucking time. And then he'd come with roses and money and jewelry, and the next thing, we actually had a period of time where we actually started dating very healthy, like, easily. Like, he just was consistently like, I'm gonna work 3 jobs just so I can make money that makes me happy. I'm gonna do this. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Like, holy fucking shit, it was good. But did he become evil as fuck and obsessive and weird? And probably, like, let's just say I knew of certain ways he had before I got with him, so. But yeah. If you're wondering how that ended, let's not talk about it. But yeah, that was something. But on the bright side, other times, like, I don't know, I'm not one of those bitches that believes in putting period blood in cookies or whatever. That's nasty. Like, I know, like, but, oh my god, if there is a correlation between niggas who have stuck around in my life the longest, no matter what bullshit happened, and niggas who... and niggas who ate it while I was on my period, I wouldn't trick them. They would know. Like, that nigga Juan Carlos, Mexican and fine as fuck, a good eater. He was so obsessed with me that he would just pull up and be like, I really want to suck some titties tonight. Do you want me to eat it? And I was like, I'm on my period. And he'd be like, I don't give a fuck. And then next thing you know, he would just eat me out for like 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes even longer, just like giving me nothing but my pleasure. It was awesome. Same for Morgan. Morgan would eat me out on my period. Oh my god, the freakiest sex, the best gifts. And we got so much better at connecting and making jokes with each other. Even Mitchell. This is the reason I liked Mitchell, because it's like when it was consensual, when sex was consensual between us. Like, I still remember I was bleeding like it was the first or second day of my period, like a fucking, like, cherry soda fountain. And, like, this nigga, like, cherry syrup just leaking out, IHOP style. This nigga was on his knees, tongue out, slurping it all up, all of it up, both holes, amazing. And, yeah, I see why he was acting like he wanted to marry me for most of the fucking week. I see why he kind of got scared of his own feelings. He was scared. It's like, I didn't do shit, brother. You offered yourself. But he made me squirt like twice in his mouth. Oh, like, in your mouth? Twice? And he still kept going. I remember at some point I had to be like, yo, stop. Yo, you gotta get off, or else I'm gonna fall in love with you. And that can't happen. This can't happen. No. And then he fully just like, he gave me the most sly little smirk and then kept going. That nigga was, yeah, I loved it. I'm so euphorically happy even just thinking about that. Yes. I'm just saying. Wow. I love it. I love when men do that. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And also, like I said, whenever I've worn my oils, I usually get great reactions from, like, most people, especially Catholic people. I've noticed. Holy shit. But it is fantastic, and it is a blessing, and I am grateful that I get to experience this journey. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. Ironically, my grandmother on my dad's side, the one who's Muslim, she told me about her this in the first place. She told me that when she was a young girl, she used to see things. Really, really scary, terrible, awful things. And she said, I had to, like, go to therapy and, like, sit under a red light lamp all the time because I had a vitamin C deficiency, and, like, I had to hide that because you couldn't tell people back in the day about that, or else they'd think you were crazy. And it was one of those things where it's like, I kind of hate that she didn't bother to check with me sooner if that happened to me. Because let's just say, when I was really young, I saw a bunch of really disgusting, terrifying, awful things. And that can be a video for some other day if I feel like it. I'm not going to talk about that too much. There's a reason I don't. Not even my own family knows this. And I guess it's good that I waited 3 years to talk about it, because it's like, I want to see what niggas say before I can actually reveal certain things to prove that they're lying assholes. But I will say this. And I remember that she did say, and she got in touch with spiritual people who basically said something about, like, if she said it in a very incorrect way, because mind you, this is the same lady who said that we came from Indians when we really came from Native American people. But she also did say that she thinks it's because of our Native American ancestor that we see these things. But she did tell me something very esoteric that I never really took it seriously for years. But then recently, I guess I was like, I don't know, like sometime 2 years ago, I had a homegirl who was into hoodoo and witchcraft and shit, and I told her about it. And she said, maybe you should post about it on Reddit. Someone might know what you're talking about. I said, hey, my grandmother said this exact quote to me. Do you know what it means? And a bunch of people said, oh, I think she got it wrong, but she was trying to say that the veil is thin for you, which is another way of saying that you just have more potency and an ability for like certain divine interventions or synchronicities or spiritual things to happen. You might see more omens, more angel numbers, you'll get more signs, animals will be more friendly to you. Like, you'll be able to see things that others won't very easily because the veil will be extremely thin. So you can basically, like, it was basically their way of saying, so we think you have witchy abilities, so you could try out certain things. And also I talked more about certain things I've experienced, and they said, oh, it seems like you have, there's a specific word for it, like when you're able to like predict things before it happened, but they have a fancy sexy word for it. And they said, yeah, we think you have that. You could be with someone else who has those abilities and they could teach you about it. But so far I haven't met anyone else so far who has that ability that I have, amongst other things that I have. But it was funny, this dude on Bumble, ironically, he hit me up and he was like, oh yes, I also can see the future. I can also predict things about people. Absolutely. But he was so arrogant, and I remember he said, I can 100% predict anything about anyone. Like, we all have divine abilities. It's like every single one of us. It's not special. And I can teach you how to tap in with them. But for now, I want to see how to tap into your love. So therefore, we should meet up for coffee. And I responded to him and said, it's funny how you say you can see the future and that you have these divine powers, and yet your divine powers didn't warn you about how I don't like coffee, and how I specifically have a section on my Bumble account that says, I have coffee at home, invite me out to something exciting, or invite me out to something good, and like, it's like he asked me out to coffee or alcohol, and I had to explain it's like my profile says I don't drink. And my profile is explicitly anti-coffee, so come on now. But yeah, I guess that has been good because it'll mean that I'm called to talk to certain people and interact with certain people. Like that guy Roddy, the one who I had to backhand the ex-girlfriend of when she attacked me and stuff, like that ended fucking. Funny enough, I did think I had an omen about that. I had like a weird gut feeling. Like, even before we met up in the whole date, I was like, his ex is gonna come home early. But I thought, no, nonsense. It's like Saturday. And she gets back on Monday. Why would she ever come home early? And plus, like, just nah. And I'll probably be gone even before then because they're moving out and they're not a couple. But then, lo and behold, she showed up. It was wild. And also, even when I was talking to him, I remember at first he said some bullshit on Bumble about wanting to meet for coffee. Or like, oh, or we could go to this mystery house if you take a BART, and then maybe we could split the price of your Uber out here if you want, and you could pay for your own ticket. And I just said, I had a gut feeling not to let him go. I just was like, oh, no, thank you. You seem great, but I'm not the type of person for that. And we sent some voice messages back and forth casually, and I was happy to make conversation, but I just made it clear it's like, I'm not the type of person that likes to look at a bill. I like to just not know. I like to just focus on, like, looking sexy and cute and beautiful and, like, getting myself nice and ready for a date. And I just want to make sure that's, like, I'd rather spend my time focusing on, like, oh, what can I wear? Like, what beautiful dress am I going to wear? What jewelry? What fun things can we talk about? Like, learning more about a person. I don't want to worry about little things like a bill or, like, how I'm going to get there. I want to think about, like, how great this other person is, especially if I know they can afford it. And then he, like, was like, bet. And then cue, like, me having one of the best dates ever with that man. Date was so good that Jared had his crash out with multiple paragraphs on my Instagram about it. He was like, fuck you, pestilence and rats. And I know you liked me if you really do have divine abilities. How have you been love bombed this much? I'll put it this way. Usually it's like my system being able to tell, like, this guy has feelings for you. You have feelings for him. It's all going to fuck up. But also, here's a sign from the divine that you should still entertain him anyway, despite it fucking up. And you should still tell him how you feel. But it's all gonna go. It's like, it's a confusing... And also, it's like, okay, what's my gut? What is the mental disorders and disabilities? Which is spiritual? It's like, sometimes you can't tell. But sometimes it can be like, this is a Canaan event that needs to happen. And you should make this move. But just know it's gonna fuck up. So ask what you want first, because he's gonna be buying. Halfway kidding. No, I'm not kidding. Who am I kidding? But yeah, still. Or just so I can prepare myself better for sad, inevitable endings. Like, even with Mitchell, I had a feeling it was going to be the last time seeing him when we parted ways. Like, but I had a feeling it was all going to work out and be alright, and that he still liked me, and I still was grateful to meet him. So, yeah. I don't know. The world works in very mysterious ways, and it is confusing and kind of fucked up, but you know what? Like, yeah. Some days, I don't know. But I notice that the days where I show up feeling my most powerful and confident, everything still works in my favor. And amen to that. Beauty, peace, and love. Alright, bye.